Hello everyone, wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Diddy Mymin Kahn. I am co-founder and co-director of Kuchinate, African Refugee Women's Collective, together with Sister Azezet Kidane, who is an Eritrean nun, counselor, nurse, and spiritual leader of the asylum-seeking community. I'm very honored, together with our 300 plus members of Kuchinate, to be invited here today to tell you our story. I thank our asylum seekers, over 300 of them, for allowing me to be their voice and tell the story today. They invite you to our studio in Tel Aviv anytime you're here to tell you their stories themselves. So I will take you through how we began, what we are, what we do. We are a work in progress and where we want to get to. So Kuchinate was founded 10 years ago. I am a clinical psychologist by profession who's dabbled in art all of my life. And I came to Israel as a trauma specialist and was asked by the United Nations High Commission for Refugees to help women, asylum seekers who had been through horrendous journeys through the Sinai desert, torture, human trafficking, rape, to have therapy, to give them therapy, which is what the psychologists know how to do. I started to meet some of the women together with an interpreter and realized very quickly that I was totally blind. I was working with a group of women who were in a state of survival, who don't have a word in their lexicon for therapy, and who were looking for food, for money, for a job, but certainly not to sit with a white South African, British, Israeli woman and an interpreter to talk about what had recently happened in their pasts. I began to think what it was that we could do, and together with good people that we met along the way, started to think about what could be done. One of them was Sister Aziza, who took testimonies of over 1,000 people at Physicians for Human Rights about what they'd been through in the Sinai desert and started to tell the world what had happened. Together, me and her created a friendship and a partnership and started to think together with other people what we could do that would provide rehabilitation for the suffering that these women had gone through, together with a means of income generation, together with a way of bringing a community together, a community of women that could support each other. And all of these in one sort of aim was something that was quite challenging, and it was trial and error. And I'd like to say that probably still till today, it's trial and error, a work in progress, as I said. We started off by making key rings from felt and beads, which were very nice, in a sort of charity, if I can say, sort of a way. We started to make money, and one of our women, Achbaret, to remember her name because I'm going to come back to her, said to us that she came with a pile of key rings, and I gave her some money for the key rings that she'd made, and she went, food. And we knew that we were doing the right thing. And from then on, we decided to take this idea further, but we certainly weren't going to be making these felt key rings. As I think I've said already, and I repeat, we couldn't have done any of what we have done up until today without the good people around. And one of them was a wonderful designer who, and funder, Poor Lejinsky, and a designer who came and said, if the women know how to crochet, let us teach them to crochet out of recycled materials and make baskets, because these are very sellable in Israel and around the world. And it's a craft that many of the women had from Eritrea, so let's try that. And this is an example that you see of the beginning of our baskets that we made. And from then on, as they say, the rest is history. Today, at Kuchinate in 2021, like I've said, we have over 300 women. We have 10 asylum-seeking managers who teach, design, community relations, quality control, in charge of events, in charge of the shops. And the whole aim is that as much as possible of what we do at Kuchinate will move on to be in the skills of the women that are at Kuchinate. And Kuchinate is now established, first of all, for the woman. They call it their home. They call it their family, away from their home and their family. They found somewhere like Abret in this picture with a purple with a purple scarf on said, "I found a place where I can rest my heart." And here you can see the woman crocheting in our studio. You can see our Brehet teaching someone how to crochet. In the beginning, we used to roll the strings. Now we don't do that anymore. And we've come on all this time later to our beautiful Milan design collection, which Jerusalem, one of our sewing manager, is showing to everyone. We moved on during Corona and just before to start working with other materials other than crochet. So we work with West African fabrics, and a lot of what we do is a nod to the cultures of the woman, mainly from Eritrea, South Sudan, Ethiopia. We also have from Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, that speaks to their culture and speaks to their hearts. But unfortunately, we always also have to have a side of doing something that is very sort of commercial, because we need to make money, because the women earn a living from what they do and are able to feed themselves and their families. You can see in the pictures our key rings that we make, our candles. We work with sewing machines. We started during Corona, actually. One of our women, Asmaret, wonderful woman, decided that she was going to teach the others how to make masks. And together with one of our very innovative volunteers, Sharon, we started to look at all different kinds of designs and started to make masks. And the women started to teach each other how to make these masks, which started to become our bestseller in 2020. And in fact, I'm proud to say that during Kuchinate, the woman, no one went hungry, no one was homeless. In fact, everyone continued to make the same salary that they made before. They get paid for what they make, not for what we earn. And so we had a huge amount of stock because we weren't selling very much. It was very important for us that our women continued to earn. And not only we took on other women to help them, because many stronger people in the community became the weaker ones because people lost their jobs. If they had 5 children and both parents lost a job, they were in dire straits. And all of a sudden, our women at Kuchinate were helping others. And it was very heartwarming. Asmaret, who I mentioned before, came to me one day. I think that was one of my highlights at Kuchinate, which means to crochet in Tigrinya, by the way, came to me and gave me 80 masks and said to me, Diddy, these masks are a gift. She said, I want to give back everything that I've got. And she gave them to us. In this picture, you can see Jerusalem teaching sewing. And at the end of a few months ago, before Asmaret left to go to Canada, where she was resettled, she gave 25 certificates to the woman that she had taught how to crochet with her signature on. And we are just about to have our second ceremony of giving over certificates for to the woman, and so the woman teach the woman, and this is one of the most amazing things. And it's not just one level; we go on to level 2, level 3, and level 4. Like I said to you, we at Kuchinate are very much see art as a tool of advocacy, and also. And we're going to go into some of the art collaborations that we do, but we invite groups to our studio who come and hear the stories of the women through their traditional coffee ceremonies, making beautiful food that's eaten and learning to crochet. And actually, we do hair braiding and all sorts of things. And the women really enjoy the fact that they have guests who come in, and they're not just someone who's transparent in the street or maybe in the shopping mall bathrooms, but someone who they say, can you give me a discount? Can you teach me how you do that? Can you give me your recipe, etc.? It really is very empowering. And also people usually go away feeling that they've learned something and it's changed them in some ways, changed their minds or their hearts. And that is really the aim, is to change minds and hearts. The following is our celebrations in Kuchinate. You can see that it's a real community studio. Our art collaborations were a turning point for us because we went from not only crocheting the dimensions of a basket or a rug or whatever it was we were doing, but the women started to tell their stories through the art. And you can see here, for example, one of our works on the street in Rothschild Boulevard, a major street in Tel Aviv. We were all once refugees, which was shared many, many times and on social media. This is a collaboration we did with the artist Gil Yefman, who, together with him, we made something called a body of work. And Achbaret is the one that you can see the profile of the woman next to the girl with the yellow dress. And she's the one that I told you about at the beginning. Well, she's had her work shown at the Haifa Museum of Art, at the Design Museum in Cologne, at gallery in Sweden, curated by Sandra Weil, the amazing Swedish curator, who's also president of our board. And she tells the story that through this basket, for example, she said she's a proud Habesha woman, which is the culture of Eritrea, Ethiopia, but that she is desperate she shows her feet to walk out of her situation and be in a place where she can feel the sun on her back and smell the flowers. Israel is a very, very difficult place for asylum seekers. They have no access to basic social rights, and Kuchinate and other colleague organizations fill the gap at the moment. So this, in these baskets that you see, the collective voice of the woman was told, and people could stand next to the baskets and hear. This is another collaboration we did with Gil Yefman at the Tel Aviv Museum of Art, and these crocheted leaves, which are a nod to the paths to the concentration camps, which the Third Reich said had to be filled with foliage. This is a reference to that, and Kuchinate, together with 200 women of the community, Israeli community, and was a woman, unfortunately, all learned to crochet these beautiful leaves, which were designed by Gil and our woman. And this is the work that you can see, which is, we're very proud, is in the permanent collection of the Tel Aviv Museum of Art. This was referenced in an earlier talk, hanging by a thread. The woman during Illustration Week a couple of years ago told their stories through felting and sewing. And here you can see the story of Ashok Deng, whose village was burnt in Sudan, and she shows her hut burning, and she shows the fish drowning, and she was 7 years old when she ran away. I think the women feel that telling their story in this way is something that's appropriate for them and is therapeutic for them. We've done other works. This is, for example, by Lena, who is South Sudanese and makes these, we did 5 works. This is her sitting there with very, very deep masks that tell a story. You can see Meron on the right, what her mask is talking about, the Sinai, and the tears coming down her eyes. This was also shown in Sweden by a show curated by Sandra Weil. This was a very special collaboration, and I want to flag this up because we feel that this is really a way that we are going at the moment. This is Madame Moreau, who's a voodoo flag artist from Haiti, who came out to Israel. She was funded by the Africa Studies Gallery, and she taught our women her craft of embroidery for 2 weeks in a beautiful environment, where afterwards there was a joint art exhibition where we showed a retrospective of voodoo flags and also the works that our women did. And what I want to say is that we've continued this collaboration. Madame Moreau designs things together with us that we sell for her, and she feeds her family. You all know in Haiti, after all, you must know all of the stories, and especially now after the recent troubles, that 80% unemployment, that Madame Moreau is very grateful herself for this collaboration. And these collaborations are continuing for Kuchinate, which you shall be hearing about. And now, just to end off, we want to sort of come full circle back. We at Kuchinate do have a psychosocial support department. This is a picture of me and Sister Aziza speaking to one of our women. And we have a social work department with a social worker who heads this department together with students, and many women receive assistance now for their needs in this kind of a way as well. We are totally experimental all the time, trying to find different kinds of ways to help. And for example, here you see a book called The Guide to Recovery for Survivors of Torture that me and Sister Aziza wrote, but in a bottom-up way. The community told us what should be in the book. They checked all of the chapters, and in the end, this book was published and has been more copies being published again, and maybe it will come out a third time. So that is, in general, the story of Kuchinate. So what I want to just say in summary, that this is an art resilience project, which is every aspect of it is therapeutic, from the fact that 10 of our women are managers of this project, that we are therapeutic, from meeting people to making things, which everyone knows, especially crochet. There's been research to show about the therapeutic value, reducing anxiety, depression, and helpful in regulating emotions. Also, the coming together of women to support each other and talk through things and help each other, and the education empowerment, the personal empowerment we do, education lessons for self-development, for professional development, and for development in helping the women at Kuchinate grow and expand themselves. Our overarching goal is the mental health and well-being of our women, not the money that we make. Everything that we do is aimed at that. If you'd like to know more, please visit Kuchinate on our website. Please look at our Facebook page. And if anyone's interested in collaborating or hearing more, we're always happy to collaborate. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Wow, Diddy.